Welcome to the Sharon Ballantine Show. I'm your host, Sharon Ballantine, Law of Attraction life coach and parenting coach. Today I have a very special guest with me, Kyle Battis. Kyle is an Amazon.com #1 best-selling author, a speaker, and product creator who has trained over 3,000 entrepreneurs in all 50 states and 40 countries on how to grow their businesses using the internet. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, Sharon. Thanks for having me today.
Hey, glad you're here. This
My
is
pleasure.
such an important subject to talk about because I don't think in my life today there's anybody that I know that does not have an online presence. So we have our businesses online, but starting out, most of us have no idea what to do with that, how to leverage ourselves and make the most of what's available today, which, as we know, there's so much we can do, right? So much we can do to make our businesses successful. So we're going to be talking about that with you today. But first of all, we don't want to start where you are now. We want to give the viewers a little history about you. So why don't you share your path with us, your life path, your business path, on how you got to this point, you know, what you had to go through. How did you wake up to knowing what your passion was, what your business wanted to be? So let's start back there.
All right. Well, hey, thank you. Great to be here, and looking forward to the show. So it's been a fun ride for me. I never got into this to be into business. It just kind of happened by happenstance. I went to college out of high school. I didn't really know what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I knew I loved sports, and I knew I loved science, and so I figured I would go to be a sports medicine professional. That way I'd work with athletes and you know, do the fun stuff, but I could still kind of merge the science side of things in there. So I studied that, had a great time with it, graduated college, and I went out and did the next logical step. I got a job at a physical therapy clinic. I worked in that field for a few different years, and I was the guy that would be in the physical therapy clinic fixing all the broken people, and I'd also be the guy that would go to the local college, and I'd be the one getting all the athletes ready, taping the ankles, treating the athletes, and I'd be running out on the field if somebody got hurt to, you know, save the day.
Love it.
So that's kind of where I started with everything, and I had the exercise science side of things, so I was doing some personal training on the side. But after being in that profession for a few years, I figured something out. The hours were brutal, and I realized that it wasn't something I wanted to do forever. It wasn't until I ran into a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, and he was in the same profession as me, and he told me, I asked him, like, hey, buddy, how things going? And he said, not great, Kyle. Like, I really don't like my job anymore. I can't keep a great relationship because I'm working so much, and I don't make very good money. And I knew that was where I was going to be in 4 years if I didn't change anything. And so I had no idea what I was going to do instead, but I knew I wanted to do something different. So that was the beginning of my path towards business. And from there, I eventually I had what Michael Gerber calls the entrepreneurial seizure, where I'm like, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to keep all the money, and I'm going to make my own hours and kind of do that thing. And so I started my own personal training business, and I did it on the side of everything else I was doing. And so now I was working even more hours. I had no idea what I was doing, no idea how to market or grow my business. But along the way, I started reading books and started studying books about marketing, and I really loved that, and I got deep into that. And eventually that led me to building my first website. And I talked to a friend of mine who was a website designer and had him help me, and it was a horrible website. It was disgusting looking. It didn't work. I had no idea what I was doing. It was impossible to ever get a hold of this guy to get him to make the changes I wanted to make. I call him Darth Webmaster now.
Oh, good. That's a good one. And there were a lot of those in those days.
Oh, I'm sure. And if anybody out there has a website, I'm sure they can relate to that. And so what I did is I'm just going to learn how to do this myself. So I started studying HTML and started building my own websites. And my next website was even worse than than my first website.
Oh, so
but at least
you didn't learn. You didn't learn from your first one.
Not really, not really. I learned not to have somebody else doing it at that point. So, but then along the way, I started really learning how to use the internet to grow my local business, and that's where the light switches started going off. And from there, I got involved into online marketing and information marketing, and I started doing an internet teller seminar series, and I made more money in 12 weeks doing that than I did the previous year at the physical therapy clinic. And that's where
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was life-changing for me.
So that was when the light bulb went off that maybe you needed to make a change that sounded more fun and easier and more lucrative?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was hanging out with great people. I was interviewing people just like this and just sharing information. And we were offering, products and services that the guest I was interviewing. And so just doing that really opened the doors to this big old world on the internet that they had to offer. And from there, I just kept going with that whole thing. And around 2006, I fired my boss, and I've been full-time online ever since. And we have done a lot of fun things. We grew. I started working with a friend of mine. We started an internet publishing company. We grew that to an $8 million a year business.
Fantastic.
From there, yeah, it was great. And we were in all kinds of different niches, and creating books and information products, and doing mass market traffic, and all kinds of great stuff to grow that business. From there, I got recruited to an even bigger company. It was a $10 million a year business when I started, and they brought me in to buy traffic online to help grow that business. We do Google AdWords and Facebook ads and offline media buys. And long story short, we grew that into a $15 million a year business. And then from there, I got a phone call from my brother. My brother Brent runs a restaurant up in Hanover, New Hampshire. Great little barbecue place if you're ever up there. And it was kind of a tough call because he was struggling with his business. He didn't know how to make the phone ring. He didn't know how to reach the local market and get them into the restaurant to try his food. And he knew if he could get them in the door, they would love his food. But getting them in the door was the hard part.
That is the hard part.
Yeah. So I talked with my brother, the chef, and the business owner, and I gave them some stuff to do that I took for granted. But they started doing it, and they saw great changes and improvements. And the phone started ringing, the cash register started ringing, and they were psyched. And so that's when another light bulb went off in my head. And these internet ideas that I've been kind of using and taking for granted since 1999, I realized that so many small business owners across the country, around the world, didn't know how to leverage the internet to get more business for them. And the way the world has gone, 97% of consumers go to the internet to start looking when they're going to go do business with somebody. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Kyle, when you gave your brother those tips, were they online or were they other things not related to the internet that helped him succeed at that time?
Yeah, at that time, there was a couple of the ideas were offline, just some local marketing things that they could do. And some were online, and I looked at their website, I looked at their Google Places account, their Google Plus account, and they were just not doing anything right, So I showed them how to do a few simple things, and they just started doing those simple things, and just from that alone, they saw a good spike in business. And they eventually hired us when we started this local marketing company where we now help small business owners with their local marketing. And we've been doing that ever since. We got really busy really fast. And so that's really the passion that drives the company that we started, is just helping small business owners get more business from the internet.
Of course, that's awesome. But when we're starting out, small businesses, it's overwhelming because there's so much available these days, and I imagine that so many of your clients starting out say, okay, well, I'm on overwhelm, and I need you to walk me through because I don't understand any of this. So you probably have to hold a lot of hands. I know that I needed my hand held until I learned the language, the methods, everything. So your book, you're an author, The Formula, How to Grow Your Business with Smart Online and Mobile Marketing. Now,
Yep.
is that a tool that helps the beginner?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of shows them a system that they can go through step by step to start leveraging the internet to grow their business. And I'll share a framework that we talk about in the
Okay,
book. It's a simple,
great.
simple way to describe how any business owner, no matter what your business is, can really grow your business. So I want you to imagine a triangle, okay, and partition that triangle into 4 pieces. So the base of the pyramid, base of the triangle, is your reputation. So what is your offline reputation? What is your online reputation? And both of those in this day and age are really critical pieces for any business to really pay attention to. You know, what are people saying about you? What is the word of mouth about your business? And in this day and age, you know, with things like Yelp and Google Plus, even Facebook has a review app thing now, your customers can say things about you, you know, good or bad. And they have, in the old days, before, you know, Al Gore invented the internet, a customer would come do business with you, and if they liked your business, they may go tell 1 person. If they didn't like what happened in the business for any reason, they may go tell 7 people.
Always, always.
Exactly. And in today's day and age, it's even more pronounced. And we say that they've got a megaphone that they can scream that out to thousands and thousands of people. And so a big mistake we see a lot of business owners making is not really paying attention to their online reputation. And so one thing that you can do, very simple thing, is to understand, grow your reputation online and make sure when somebody, because one of the things Google actually has named this, they call it the Google Zero Moment of Truth, where before somebody does business with you, they'll actually Google you. And we do it all the time nowadays.
Always, yes, I've heard. Yeah. Yes, I know that to be true. You get Googled before anything happens.
Right, right. And they'll see, you know, what's showing up on that front page. You know, are there reviews about you? Are there videos? Are there articles? You know, have they written a book? You know, they're looking about you and kind of seeing what the word on the street is about you.
So how does that business owner? What control do we have over the bottom of the pyramid?
That's a great question. So one of the simple things that we recommend to any business owner, it doesn't matter if it's an online business exclusively or if it's a restaurant or a law firm, one of the things that we have our business owners do is just very simply get in a conversation with your customers and just ask them, when you do business with them, ask the simple question, hey, how did we do? You know, and we find so many business owners just don't want to know. They kind of hope and pray that they're just doing a good job, and that, but I don't think that's good enough. I think you gotta ask, hey, how did we do?
You have to know.
Yeah, you gotta know. And if they're unhappy, you as a business owner, you want to intercept that before they go to something like Yelp, before they go to Google Plus. And I think if you can do that, and you can, you know, make that customer, make it right, make the situation right, they're gonna be loyal to you forever. I've seen so many times where somebody had something bad, they had a bad experience in a restaurant or with a lawyer or with a veterinarian, and if the business owner goes out of their way to make that situation right, that person can be one of their best customers and their best advocates.
It's important. So do you think it's important, Kyle, to get testimonials from your clients?
Absolutely. And so here's the other side of the coin. If somebody says, you know, when you ask that question, how did we do? And they said, oh, wow, Sharon, you were awesome. You know, and that is the perfect time to say, that is great. Would you mind if I write that down and just capture that testimonial? And that's something you can put on your own website. And then you can then encourage that person, say, hey, here's the testimonial you just wrote down. I just wrote it down, and I'm emailing it to you. Would you mind copying that and sharing it on, and give them the links to your review sites, your Google Plus page, your Yelp page? And you can ask them, hey, would you mind going to share this on your site? It's got to come from them. You as the business owner can't just take that and paste it on there. That's a no-no. But if you can encourage them to say, hey, here's something you said about us. Would you mind sharing that on these review sites? That way, that'll help you build that 5-star reputation that is just so critical to do business.
Exactly, and it's really important to ask, and I think many of us get shy about asking. One method I use is people on my fan page. They will either message me or they'll write it right on the page, something really nice. Yep. So I message them back and I say, I so appreciate that you wrote that. Thank you so much. May I put that on my website testimonial page? And they always say yes, and then it goes right up to my testimonial page. And I didn't even necessarily, you know, have a coaching session with them. It might have been something different, but they benefited from it. So there are all these different ways you can really use what people say. But it is, I think, important to ask permission.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the first thing, you know. So just doing exactly what you did, and that happens all the time, you know. And you can do that. You should always be doing that, whether you're interacting with people offline, online, and anyway. It's just the principle is key. And now we're just moving that principle online on the internet, where it's even more powerful. So
awesome. What's the next step in the pyramid?
All right, so we talked about reputation. So the next step up in the pyramid is reach. And the whole thing with reach is we just want to reach more new people every day. And the goal, you know, I love Dan Kennedy. He's one of my favorite marketing minds. And he's got this rule where before his head hits the pillow every single night, he has to have done something so that more people know about him and are in the front end of his marketing funnel than knew about him yesterday.
Okay.
And so it's a simple thing you can do. And reach can cover all kinds of different tactics to grow your reach. We could be doing a Google Hangout like we're doing right now. We could be writing an article for, like I just wrote an article for the local Chamber of Commerce, and we got phone calls and business from that. I'm doing a presentation for 23 different business owners offline at a Chamber of Commerce once again. Coming up in a couple of days. You could write a book on Amazon. You can blog. You can do Facebook. You can buy Google AdWords. You can buy Facebook ads. You can send direct mail. There's a million things that you can do, and depending on what kind of business you're in, you know, it may be your strategy and which tactics you use could be different. But the principle is, you should be doing something every day to grow your reach in your business. Which
makes sense. And we don't always have to spend money, but sometimes it's very beneficial to spend money, you know, whether it's Facebook ads, advertising of some sort. If you have the budget, it can be very helpful to reach more people spending some money.
Yeah, sure. And we always say if you don't have the resources to spend on paid advertising, then you have to be resourceful. And the internet has given us all kinds of ways, like a Google Hangout like this, completely free to do, very powerful. It's something that'll be out there, you know, growing our reach and influence for a long, long time. And, you know, social media, social marketing, you know, I could tell that you're very good at that, and you probably get a lot of you know, you grow your reach exponentially by interacting there. So lots of different things that we can do in this day and age.
Okay, so what's next in the pyramid? Reach.
All right. So the next level up we call resell, and that is when you get a customer. We firmly believe you shouldn't just get a customer to make a sale, but you should get a customer for life, and get them in a relationship. So that first sale is just the beginning. It's not the end. And you know, there's all kinds of ways that you can deliver more value to that customer and increase how much money that they invest with you, and happily give you more money for an exchange for more value. And you're doing all kinds of great things there. And so that could take a lot of different forms. There could be upsells. You know, maybe say you could have add-ons to what you deliver. Whether, you know, we have a customer who's a water treatment professional, and when he goes and sells a water treatment unit, he's asking, hey, would you like the bonus package or the super duper protection plan? And it's a little bit of an add-on, but you know, 30% of the customers will take it, and they get a lot more revenue from that, and they're delivering more value to that customer. Another idea is, you know, continuity, kind of, you know, where like a membership or a monthly, you know, deliverable of some sort. So there's only really 3 ways to grow, to make more money in any business. One is to get more new customers. One is to increase the transaction size of how much they give you. And then the third one is to get them to come back more often. And so between all of those, you can really grow the profits of any business.
And the membership, you know, the add-ons don't cost us as business owners anything, and I'm just learning about the membership aspect. You know, you have a membership program on your website, and it might be a weekly thing that you send out a video to educate them, or they receive something of value, but you have them for long periods. And I'm just stepping into that arena. And
Oh,
we all know about add-ons, don't we, Kyle? Because every time we purchase something, most of the time people are trying to add on things, and probably more often than not, we purchase those add-ons because they add to what we've already gotten.
exactly. Yeah. The hardest customer to get, or hardest sale to get, is that first sale. But if they've already got their wallet out and their credit card out, they're very motivated to buy more. But we see the mistake a lot of business owners make is they just don't ask. So you're leaving money on the table and you're taking value away from your customers by not asking. So that's a critical thing to do. Absolutely.
It really is, in our business and life in general, right? To get what we want, we have to ask.
Right. What is that thing? You can go down to the ocean with a bucket, or you can go down with a whole dump truck and fill it up. So it's up to you how much you want to fill up, right?
It really is. And once we get used to asking, it becomes easier. And it's really fun to ask, because when we learn to ask in the right way, with the right spirit, more often than not, we probably get a yes.
Exactly. Yep. You're right. The positioning and your attitude and how you ask is really huge. So good.
It really is. We want people to be delighted to buy our products and buy more and more, right?
Exactly. Yep.
What else is in that funnel?
All right, so that's resale.
Pyramid.
All right, so the next piece up and the final piece is referrals, and everybody knows that referrals are the best source of new customers. I know that referrals. There's a Harvard study, and people that were referred into a business, they tend to spend 18% more money than somebody that was acquired from another means. And so referrals are an amazing way to grow your business. And if you have a system in place, and so this is the biggest mistake we see a lot of businesses have, they don't have a system to get referrals from their business. I just did a special training for 2 of my clients all about referrals for like an hour and a half, and they were amazed at all the different things that you can do about referrals, some of which are completely free, don't cost you anything to do. Some of it can just be when to ask, but referrals are absolutely gold and huge, and referrals feed back down to the bottom of the pyramid. So imagine a line going from the top of the pyramid all the way back down to reputation. That will then grow your reputation, because now it's not just the offline side of things that we have people doing the word of mouth thing. If somebody comes back and you ask that question, hey, how did we do? Oh, that's great. I'm glad that you loved our service. Would you mind leaving us a testimonial? And what we always do is if they leave a testimonial, we then ask, that's great. Would you mind sharing it on Google Plus or Yelp or TripAdvisor or Foursquare or wherever is applicable to your business? But that will then fuel your online reputation and attract even more people, and it's a perpetual kind of cycle at that point.
And these days, isn't it so easy for all of us to share what we have, what we know, and who we want to help promote? There's a share button on everything, and all you have to do is, if not, you can press forward or reply or anything to get it out there. It's so easy for people to take just a few seconds to share. To share things.
And it's so powerful. The average Facebook user has about 150 friends, and so if they're taking that testimonial that they just wrote for you and posting it on their wall and linking back to your fan page, for example, or your website, that's being shared virally with 150 people, and each one of those people have 150 friends. So the effects of a social share like that can be astronomical. I mean, we do a lot of Facebook ads for clients. Some of which are offline only businesses, some are online, and it's amazing to see when we do Facebook ads for a client. We'll promote a post, and we'll see a certain percentage of the people that see that are from the paid ads, but there's a huge percentage of viral traffic that can come from that too, just because of that sharing that's going on the Facebook ads as well.
Exactly, and it helps if we ask others to share.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes we see something that's so inspiring or amazing that we just automatically think to share it. But other times, nice things have come into my experience that are of value. And because I was asked to share it, that's what spurred me to do that. So it is important to ask. And I do that in all of my newsletters and blogs that I send out, or my TV show videos, whatever. It's always, please share it with your friends and family. You know, if you like this, please share it.
Right. And I know you're a fan of the law of attraction, but part of the law of attraction, you got to ask, right? And so if you want to attract more of the right people to you, you got to put it out there. You got to ask, and you got to say, and people love to be kind of asked what to do. So if you ask them and say, hey, you know, would you mind sharing this post if you got some value out of it? People are happy to help you out with that, and that's just one way that they can kind of pay it forward, pay you back, and really kind of spread the good word about you. And so it's a really powerful way to leverage that social media. I've
really found that to be true. When we offer something of value, people are very happy to say thank you in that way. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the R4 framework, that pyramid, and it's a very simple way to kind of look at your online presence and your offline presence and say, how can I improve those? And what we've seen is if you just focus on just one area, you could grow your business by 25% just by focusing on that one thing. Like maybe if you don't have a good online reputation or you don't have any online reputation, just bolstering that and really putting in some effort into getting testimonials, getting some of those fans of yours to post online can really boost your business. Same thing for reach. You know, maybe you're only reaching a small percentage of people of your total market that you could be reaching, and you're only reaching them in one way. You know, then you start adding on, okay, we're going to do Google Hangouts, now we're going to do Facebook ads, and slowly start adding on different traffic sources. You can really expand your reach quite a bit, and that could grow your business tremendously too. And same thing for resell and referrals too. So.
And I think it's important to do, well, like you were saying, one thing at a time so we don't feel overwhelmed, because in each one of those categories there's so many things we can do. So I think you're right. Really take one at a time until you're comfortable with it, until you feel a strength in that area, and then move on to another. And I think that helps to keep us out of overwhelm, which is not a productive place.
No. I've been there, and a lot of the people we've coached have been there, and their head is just spinning. Like, Kyle, what do I do? There's all these things that I could be doing. And so what I like to do, you know, if you're in that situation, is just kind of take a step back and get out of the tactical suit, you know, because there's all kinds of tactics. Hey, I should be doing Facebook ads. I should be doing Google Hangouts. I should be doing, you know, social media posting. Kind of take a step back and say, what is the strategy? And we're a big fan of the back of the napkin kind of marketing plan. So your marketing plan should be able to fit on the back of a napkin.
Oh, cool.
And it should be strategy. You know, like we're going to get new people in. Here are the 3 ways that we're going to start with to get new people to expand our reach. Here's how we're going to get referrals. Here's how we're going to sell. Here's how we're going to grow our reputation, and just kind of keep it a simple plan like that. And that way you can work that plan, look at the results that you're getting, and say, and ask yourself, is that bringing us closer to the goals that we really want to achieve? And if it is, great, keep doing it. If it's not, then you got to go back to your plan, and maybe you got to tweak one of the variables.
Right.
You work that plan for a couple more months, and you just keep up in that feedback loop and that very simple strategy.
One thing at a time.
Absolutely.
But you know, Kyle, I'm all about the terminology and what we say to ourselves, which results in how we feel, right? And sometimes when we tell ourselves, well, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, and we're in that place of overwhelm. Should doesn't really get us out of overwhelm, because when you feel like you should do something, that doesn't feel very good, because maybe you don't want to. So one of the strategies I've always used in really every area of my life, and certainly in my marketing, has been, where do I want to start? What do I want to do? Which one right now sounds and feels like the most fun? Because when you approach any action in your life from that point, it's going to turn out like you want it to. You really you're setting yourself up for success, for it to be how you desire.
Yeah. So. And we're on the same page there. You know, we kind of sit down with a client and be like, all right, here's where you're starting from. Where is it you want to go? You know, what are all the problems that you have right now? What are some strategies that can kind of help solve those problems that'll get you to your goal that you want? And then from that, you can kind of figure out what does that back of the napkin plan actually look like, and what are the actual strategies that we're going to do. And then you walk out of that and you have that little back of the napkin plan, and you don't have to worry about all those other shoulds. You can put those on a totally separate list, and maybe once a year, once every quarter, you kind of reevaluate your plan. You're like, all right, maybe we now can try implementing one of those shoulds that we've been, had on the other list over there for a while.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time. I want to talk about the articles that you've written. I had a lot of fun on your website, and you have a lot of information on those amazing articles that you have written. Some of the things you wrote about, I mean, we can just start somewhere. Mobile apps. Everybody these days is on their mobile device. I think they do more on their mobile device than they probably do on their Mac or their PC or those are the statistics I've heard anyway.
Oh, sure.
So what is it about mobile apps that you think are of value, and how can people tap into those and use them to their best advantage?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, really, it's where the world has gone. Wayne Gretzky, great hockey player. He's got that very famous quote, that answers why he was such a great hockey player, because he didn't skate where the puck was, he skated where the puck was going. And everybody, and business owners that have really figured out, like, hey, the world has gone mobile. And more, I mean, 90% of people have their smartphone within arm reach at all times. I do.
Of course.
Yeah. There's billions of hours of Angry Birds that have been played on smartphones, and Words with Friends and stuff like that. But, even more importantly, as a business owner, our customers are looking for answers on their mobile phone. They're starting, 50% of all searches done on a mobile phone are for people looking for local businesses that they need their help, and they're trying to find answers. So if you're not showing up there in that mobile landscape, then you're missing out on a huge potential people. You're not reaching the people that you should be reaching. Even further, if they do click on your website in that mobile search, and they can't navigate your website because your website wasn't built with keeping in mind that 3.5-inch screen that everybody's looking at our websites on nowadays, they're not going to have a good viewing experience on your website, and they're going to hit the back button and go check out somebody else's website.
Okay, so it all starts with the website. I mean, that's the point. A is when you're building your website that it's mobile friendly. Is that what you're saying?
It's a huge piece, and so we have people in both situations where you maybe have a big, full, existing website that you've had for years that you love, you put your heart, sweat, and tears into, and it works really well. But now with the world that has changed, and we've got that 3.5-inch screen, and people are trying to pull your website up on that, it doesn't work on that. They can't. They have to do the pinch and the zoom thing, and they can't get to your phone number. They can't find what they're looking for on your website. So you got to keep in mind that a good percentage of your traffic to your website is going to be mobile traffic. And so you can do two things. There's two ways to solve that. Okay. One, you can rebuild your entire website and create what's called responsive design. And that's just a new way, so it shrinks. Your website shrinks and expands based on the size of the screen you're on. If they're on a little tiny iPhone, it's going to be tiny and compact. If they're on a Kindle device, it's going to be a little bit bigger. And if they're on a 27-inch Mac, it'll be nice and big.
Right.
So responsive design will really adapt your website based on the screen it's being viewed on. So our advice is, if you're starting from scratch, or if you want to redo your website completely, that's a great option to do. Okay. The other option is a mobile dedicated website. And so that is, if you have an existing website, you don't want to scrap it and start all over, but you want to make sure that you're mobile optimized. You can put a piece of code on your existing website, and it'll say what kind of device is this person looking at the website on. And if they're on a desktop or a PC, you can look at the main website. But if they're on a mobile device, it's going to switch them over, and it's going to show them the mobile optimized version of your website.
Sounds like the best thing for people to do once they have a website up and they don't want to start over. That's just costly or time-consuming if they have to do it themselves, is have that embed code, like you suggested, on the back that shows who is going to be, who can have access to see their website successfully. So I think that sounds like the most practical. Some of the other articles you were talking about was saying thank you, which is just so basic to our everyday lives, but it's so important. So I want you to explain why you think that's important and how that applies in our business presence.
Sure. You cut out there for a second. Can you ask that question one more time? I'm so sorry.
Yes. Saying thank you. Why that is so important in our continued online presence and our customer service.
Yeah, I think appreciation marketing is just a valuable thing that any business can do, whether you're an offline business, an online business. Human beings, we like to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. And so one of the ways you can do that is just really follow up and say thank you. It could be an email. It could be something via social media. A big fan of talking about the referral side of things. One thing that I like to do, if somebody takes the time to refer somebody to my business, I'll immediately send them a postcard in the mail, handwritten postcard, just thanking them, acknowledging that they took the time. Because one thing that people and business owners forget and don't understand often is that people don't refer to your business because they want monetary reward. They do it because it makes them feel good as a person, and it helps elevate their status, and it helps them. They're sharing something that they like and they've got value from, and so that's why they're doing it. And if you understand that and acknowledge them and thank them for taking that time, that's a big step. So that's one thing I always do. If I then meet with the person that they referred to us, and we ended up closing that deal, we start doing business with the person they referred, I will then immediately follow up with that person again and let them know, say, hey, thank you so much for sending Susie our way. We're going to do business together. Here's a small gift. You don't even have to do the gift thing, but just letting them know. I know of a story of a person that he has a Cadillac, and he's been buying from this Cadillac dealer for 30 plus years and has had multiple cars. But then he referred a friend to that same dealer. His friend went in, bought a Cadillac, and then he saw him driving around town like a month later, and he had never heard anything about it, never heard from the dealer, and he was upset. He took that really personally, and he's like, I took the time to refer somebody over there. That was a big ticket sale. It's like, I didn't even want anything from it, but the fact that he didn't get acknowledged for putting himself out there, that upset him, and he's never referred to that business again. And so just really taking that extra step and appreciating your referral sources, appreciating your new customers. We send our new customers a gift, and it could be as simple as a welcome letter. It might be a little box of brownies. If you're health conscious, we might do something a little different. But I think just taking that can really it can really kind of set you apart from everybody else that you're doing business against, and really deliver that wow experience that is so rare in this day and age. But if you can kind of do that, the word's going to get out, referrals won't be a problem, and getting new customers coming to you won't be a problem either. So,
it's really
that's
true.
Really some of the things.
It's about perpetuating that good energy, right? So what you put out there is what you're going to get back. And like you said, we don't refer and do things because we want something in return. But we love to be acknowledged. Everybody loves being acknowledged. And when we notice that we haven't been acknowledged, then it can be hurtful. Then it can be hurtful.
Doesn't feel very good.
I loved the article you had on Eric Thomas, which was the motivational speech. It said the most important or most powerful motivational speech ever. And this morning I watched all 14 minutes of that.
Oh yeah.
I thought he is so powerful. And then we were talking earlier about sharing. Okay, so I'm watching this, and he's loud. He says it at the top of his lungs. His message, what he's saying. How much do you want success? And he's yelling it, but you're not offended. You're just feeling his power. That was my interpretation.
Absolutely.
And so he was so inspiring on why do you want success and how much do you want it, and do you want it more than you want to sleep, and do you want it more than you want to be on your iPhone and all of that. I thought, my son needs to watch this, and he's in college. And he has all those issues of, that Eric was talking about. He's young and finding his way. So I
Mm-hmm.
put it on my Facebook page, and then I shared it from there onto my son's. So
Yep. Yep.
it was just
That's
really
great.
powerful what Eric Thomas had to say about how much do you want the success that you
Sure.
say you want. You know, put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. What do you have to say
Yeah.
about Eric?
Oh, I loved him. And the way I found out about him was somebody had shared that video on their Facebook page. I watched the whole 14 minutes. I'm like, oh, this is
It's
awesome.
long, yeah.
And so then I shared it. I posted on my blog. I shared it multiple times. And I even went, good lesson here, I went and then looked up Eric on the internet. I Googled him, and I saw that he had a website. Went to his website, saw that he had products. So I bought an audio book that he had, and I bought a few different things from him. All because of that social share. So Eric was doing a good job putting something out there that is worthy of being shared, and it's been shared by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And I think it's just a powerful message, like you said, and has really resonated with a lot of people, and has probably helped grow his business and kind of fuel the back end of his business by selling his books, selling his audio products, and I know he does coaching and things like that too. So there's a couple lessons there. One, from the business side of things, look at what Eric did and emulate that yourself. You know, secondarily, listen to his message and apply it to your life too, because I think it's really powerful. So
great message. You know, he has great delivery, and that was just a simple video in a classroom that he was, you know, talking to these young people. You know, and he's good at delivery, powerful. You know, you're not going to sit there and watch him and not feel the impact of what he's saying. It's so much more than his words, even though he was asking so many powerful questions, wasn't he?
Absolutely, yeah, great stuff. I could watch that. I could watch that every day. It's just so motivating.
So one of my favorite questions, what he asked was, well, his statements was, you have to be able to sacrifice what you are and what you have for the success you want. You know, give up those things that are important to you so you can just truly focus. And Kyle, don't you think that's so important on, you know, for people to succeed in business as well as life, is how focused are you willing to be? Are you willing to be distracted by other things? Because if you are, is what I understood him to say, if you are by anything, then you don't want it enough.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Sharon, and we see that all the time, and I've personally struggled with that myself. You know, like I didn't go to school for business, so I had self-labeled myself. I'm not a business person. I'm not a marketer. I'm not a salesman. But over the years, if I wanted to get to really where I wanted to go and achieve the goals I had set for myself, I had to step outside of my comfort zone and kind of stretch myself and get into that area that I didn't know anything about, that I wasn't comfortable doing, that felt weird to me, and be bad at that activity, whether it's sales, marketing, you know, public speaking. I used to be terrified of public speaking. Me too. But I forced myself to do it and started, you know, developing some comfort. And now I've spoken in front of an audience of thousands of people, and it feels good because I've reframed how I look at that experience, and you know, it's in line with the mission that I have, and I have a message that I want to share. And so if I really want to share that message, I got to step up. I got to step up to the plate and learn some new skills, get out of my comfort zone, and keep that stretching. And by doing that, you know, great things have happened. And I think we all have that on a daily basis. I don't think it's something that should ever go away, because if you're always comfortable, you're not growing, and you're not helping to the level that you could be. And so challenge yourself if you're listening to this right now, watching this right now, and you're thinking like, well, hey, I'm not an internet marketer. I'm not a salesman. I don't like sales, so I'm not going to do sales. You know, you're really hurting yourself, and I encourage you to reevaluate the labels that you're putting on yourself and say, is that serving me or is it holding me back?
I love how you put that. Everything you just said is just so valuable for people to hear. You know, what are our limiting beliefs, you know, about ourselves and the world, which are keeping us from getting to where we want to go? And it's really true. You know, we can get in our comfort places, and, you know, in my business, I've encountered that quite a bit. I have to be really uncomfortable to find that new growth place, and I never see it coming. It's just, I just automatically have to work through the process.
But after a while, you just get,
Yeah, you do. You get used to it, and you expect it, and you...
after a while, you get comfortable.
And feeling uncomfortable starts to feel good. And I was coaching one of my oldest daughter recently on, she's about to enter in her business something really uncomfortable. And if she has trepidation, it's like, take a deep breath, relax, and look at if that choice is going to get you closer to where you want to go. And if the answer is yes, do the work. Do the work to ease yourself into that place of horrible discomfort and use it to your advantage. Right?
Yeah, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it if you can take that step.
Okay, so I want to ask you one question. So we talked about the mobile phones. So what would you say, like, the one biggest mistake? You talked earlier about some mistakes people make, but, you know, we're always conscious of not wanting to screw it up for ourselves when we're in this process. So what is the one simple mistake that people tend to easily make that they can avoid in this process of you know, growing their business online?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a great question, and I'm not going to go to the tactical level on this, because I think for that question, the number one biggest mistake is a lack of strategy and a lack of planning. And there's a great book. It's called Traction. I don't even know who wrote it, but we've been following that plan in our business. It's all about how to get traction in your business, and really the whole book is about planning. You know, how do you plan your business? And I think in order to grow a business, it can't just be by mistake. It's got to be intentional. You've got to have, you know, goals. You got to have benchmarks. You got to have check-ins. You got to have, you know, big rocks that you're focusing on, so that the pebbles in life don't get in the way and prevent you from, you know, doing things. And one of my mentors taught me, if you don't have a system for selling, you're victim to your customer's system of buying. And I think the same is true for time. Time is your most valuable asset, your rarest commodity. There's always people trying to chew up your time, always people, and there's all kinds of time vampires out there, like Dan Kennedy calls them, trying to just steal your time and suck it away. So if you don't have a really good plan in place of thinking where you want to be a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and then have very, you know, systematic steps and a plan to get you there, you can get really distracted. You know, every time you get an email in your inbox from another marketer saying, hey, you got to be doing this. This is the thing you have to be doing, or, you know, better than anything, you know. And we were in the coaching business for a long time, you know, coaching internet entrepreneurs how to grow their business. And that was the biggest, there was the opportunity chaser kind of complex, where we saw people just chasing opportunity from opportunity to opportunity and never really following one plan all the way through. And so that's probably the biggest mistake, I'd say. Yeah.
So it's about focus, really. Boils down to really staying focused, not get distracted, and keep your eye on the ball, if you will, on those goals and where you want to go.
Absolutely.
Great. And I know that you can help people do that. Well, Kyle, we're at the end of our show, so I was wondering if you have a question for me before we sign off.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I know you're a big fan of the law of attraction, and so I guess I would be interested, you know, part of my belief, I'd rather be in a business where I can have people coming to me, you know, so that if I position myself well, I write books, I create content online, and I'm attracting people to me.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts on, like, what do you think the best way to kind of combine marketing like that and the law of attraction as a principle, as a concept, and kind of merge them together so you have something really powerful?
Okay, well, first of all, the law of attraction will always work. It's always going to be working, so you don't have to worry about merging with it or doing anything. So given that, what's your question? What are you asking me? And then I'll explain it
Yeah. So if my goal as a business owner,
Yes.
one of the things I struggle with sometimes is as a coaching business owners is
Okay.
they're trying to get more customers. They want their phone to ring, they want their cash register to ring, and I'm trying to give them help and sometimes do some of that stuff for them. And so what advice could I give to that business owner that kind of ties into that law of attraction that will help them achieve that goal?
Of getting more clients. That's what you're asking. Of
Yeah.
getting more clients. Okay, and that is such a great question. So it's about inspired action. And you're in an action-oriented business. You're always working online. You're doing all the time for your clients. So it's what are we inspired to do, on a personal level and for our clients. So I'm just going to talk from the personal level, which was your question, was what you can tell your clients on how to work for themselves in the best manner. What are they really inspired to do? What I said earlier, I wasn't kidding. I was really serious about what sounds like the most fun thing to do right now. You have your business, and at any given time, there are probably 100 different things you could be doing. Then it goes into overwhelm, because where do you start? You start with the one that feels like the most fun, the one that feels the best right now. And tomorrow it might be different, but all you have is this moment right now. You're going to go into action for yourself. Where do you start? With what feels like the most fun. And I always use that in my own life and telling other people, is you have to have a starting point. And from then it spirals, because you get an inspired action. When you're in that place of having fun and feeling good in your business, you are in your place of allowing all the information that you've been asking for to come to you. And so you'll get another inspired action. You'll get another inspired action on who to call, what to do, and it just snowballs. And it doesn't stop until you start to feel bad. And then it stopped. And then when that happens, and it happens to all of us, it's normal. Stop what you're doing. Find something else to do. Sit back down and go into action when you've done the work to get yourself back to that good feeling place.
That's great. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Kyle, you've been awesome, an awesome guest. Please, really quick before we go, your website on where people can find you.
Sure. If you just go to NH as in New Hampshire, nhstrategicmarketing.com. And we've got a blogging that we're doing there. We do a weekly email newsletter. We do webinars for free for people on how to grow your business and how to use the internet to get more customers. So yeah, just visit nhstrategicmarketing.com. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. Great. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you, Kyle, and I hope to see you again very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And dear viewers, please go to my website, SharonBallantine.com, to watch my shows and my blogs and all of the great information I've been updating there. Thank you. Have a good week. Bye-bye.